So this is an introduction to using modules in Python. There's a link here for a lot more detailed information on creating and using modules. First thing we want to look at is a little bit more detail at the import statement. So we've been using import numpy as np, and this is the most common way to import numpy. We could just do import numpy by itself, and then we would, instead of typing np dot some function, we would need to type numpy dot some function, and this takes more typing, so we'll usually do np dot. But this name np isn't special. We could name it anything we want, like numnum, and then numnum dot function name. We can also do this from statement, so from numpy import sine cosine, and then we can use the name directly. So instead of np.cos, we can just do cos. Finally, if we do from numpy import star, we can access, we'll be loading all of the names from numpy into our local namespace. And then we can just use cos and sine, etc. The problem with this is that you're loading everything and you don't know what you're loading, so you can have name clashes, and you can also, it's also not as descriptive what we have. So we pretty much only use this for quick and dirty work, like using Python as a interactive mode or as a calculator or something. Anytime we're saving code that we want to see again or share, we would pretty much always use this import numpy as np. So what we want to look at here is how we can create our own modules that hold our own functions and then use those. We can save code, variables, or functions, etc. in other code files like file.py, and they'll typically end in a .py file extension. And then we can load it into Python like we've been doing with other examples. So let's go ahead and try this out. So let's go to File, let's go ahead and create a new text file, and we'll go ahead and rename it units.py. Now we can see that there's this file units.py. And then let's go ahead and copy this code and paste it in units.py, and then we'll save the file. So this has a few variables, unit conversion variables, feet to meters, meters to feet, pound mass to kilogram, kilogram to pound mass, and a couple of functions, Kelvin to C and Fahrenheit to C. Okay, so we can now load that. Let's make a new notebook, for example. We can go import units as u, for example. And then if we go dir u, then we can see all the names that were loaded. We have the 3 variables and we have the 2 functions. So this dir function is convenient for seeing what is available from the module that we just loaded. And so let's create a variable like L in feet equals 5, and then we can go L in meters equals L in feet times u dot feet to meters, and then L in meters, we can see that's 1.5 meters. So 5 feet is 1.5 meters. And so we can access the variables in this units module by simply loading it and then u dot variable name, and we can do the same with the functions. So if we go t in C equals, or t in Fahrenheit equals 212, then we can go t in C equals u dot f to C, t in Fahrenheit, and we get 100. So 212 Fahrenheit gives us 100 C. So pretty simple to create and use these modules. Now you can, okay, so here's that same example. We can load just like we saw before, you can load variables or functions directly. So if we did from units import f to c, then we can use that function directly without prepending it with u dot. That's possible. And the code is run when the the code in the module is run when the module is loaded. So this can allow us, if we wanted to hide boilerplate code in a module and then simply import the module. Now you have to realize that if you import a module and then you change the module and then try to import it again, you normally will have to restart your kernel in order for those changes to be visible. It's not enough to simply save your module and then import. And there's some alternative options available in the module description in the link on the first slide. So here's an example of a file called allimports.py where we're going to hide our standard imports, for example. And then we can load all of those modules by simply doing from allimports import star, and we can try that out. So before we run it, well, after we run this thing, we can then say, okay, that thing's been run, and then we can see like glob ? Will show us this glob module, for example, which is listed here. Oops. Okay, so now when you load a module, it needs to be in the same directory. So these modules that we created, units.py, allimports.py, live in the same directory. If they're not in the same directory, then we need to tell Python where to find them by either editing our Python path environment variable, and you can do that either externally using your local system, or you can do it inside Python by importing the sys module and then doing sys.path.append and then writing the path to where your module lives, and then you can import the corresponding module directly. We already saw the dir function, so if we do dir, it shows everything in the global space. If we dir u, it shows the values that are here. So import units as u, dir u will show all those quantities. Okay, so that's a brief introduction to using modules.